Well, welcome back. More on the situation in the Gaza war now. And what is the reaction from Palestinians to Israel's warning that the war could go on beyond 2024? I'm joined now by Palestinian ambassador to the UK, Husam Zomlot. Thank you for joining us tonight. What do you make of that? Is that just Israeli positioning, do you think? Is it sort of part of its negotiations, the threat that this could go on indefinitely? Or is it real? Do you think the war could go on into the next year?
Well, I think Israel has been at war with us for 7 decades. So if they declare 7 months, they mean it. They live on the very idea that there is a conflict and there is a people that they are oppressing. They reject the very idea of a Palestinian state. They reject a political solution. You've heard Netanyahu bragging many times publicly that he's the one who has actually finished off and killed the idea of a Palestinian state. So what's the alternative? The alternative is perpetual conflict, perpetual war, the use of sheer violence that you have been seeing all along. When you do not have a political vision, when you do not accept the international consensus, then you fill the vacuum with violence, and that's the only option Israel has.
But specifically this war, if it goes on until next year, that's Israeli troops in Gaza for 7 months. That's effectively reoccupying Gaza, isn't it, indefinitely? What's your government in Ramallah's position on that, reoccupation of Gaza?
Well, the position is very clear. Israel must end its onslaught on Gaza, its genocidal aggression on Gaza. A permanent ceasefire must be achieved immediately, and unfettered access of humanitarian aid together with a massive rebuilding campaign. Gaza has been destroyed, and I've just heard the Israeli official in your show a few minutes ago saying that the two aims is A, getting back the hostages, and the second is eradicating Hamas. This is dissembling. It's lying. Because hostages could
You don't believe it?
Of course not. Here is the facts. First, Israel has been killing a great deal of number of these hostages. And second, these hostages would have been released long ago, should Israel have heeded.
Well, they say they need to keep pressure militarily on the Palestinians and Hamas to get their hostages back. That's their position.
That's not true. Ask the mediators, ask Egypt, Qatar, and the US. They will tell you that Israel has been offered many times a deal that would release hostages from both sides, because Israel has taken thousands of Palestinian hostages since the 7th of October, mostly from the West Bank, by the way, without trial or charges. Many of them are children. Now, the second big lie was just made on your show is that this is about Hamas, eradicating Hamas. What about the 120,000 people killed and maimed? What about the 70% of Gaza's housing stock destroyed? What about 80% of Gaza's schools bombarded, all of universities, and only 4 of the 36 hospitals are still partially operating. The others have been bombed. This isn't about Hamas.
Well, they say this is all part of getting the hostages back. But
really, imposing a famine on 2.3 million people is really getting hostages out. No, Israel is waging a war against the Palestinian people. Israel is eradicating the Palestinian people, and they have been doing this since the 1948 Nakba and ongoing.
While we've got you, your family are from Rafah. You were saying before the break that you grew up there till the age of 14.
Yes.
Our forensic research seems to suggest and show that the weapons that caused those horrendous scenes, that airstrike in Rafah, the Israelis say that the inferno was caused by secondary explosions, but the weapons seem to have been supplied by America. What's your reaction to that revelation?
That really, America should be, the US administration should be ashamed of itself now. A, because they have drawn a red line, which is Rafah, and yet Israel keeps crossing these red lines. And B, they said that they should not see American weapons being used in grave violations of human rights. Now, can it be worse? I mean, the world foresaw this. The world foresaw the massacres in Rafah. The world predicted what has taken place in the last few days. Almost like you and I were seeing these images coming before they actually happened. And yet, the US, all what it has to say is that Israel has not crossed a red line. This explains to you all what it takes. I mean, either the US policy and actions are incompetent or disingenuous, or both.
A number of countries are recognising Palestine. Does it make any difference, do you think?
It makes all the difference, because the heart of our issue is we were cancelled as a people by Great Britain of the time, that colonial arrogance of promising our land without consulting us and of turning us into non-Jewish minorities when we were 98% of the population and owning 96% of the land. So recognizing and ending that cancellation is very important, and what these countries have done is a major step in the right direction.
We're running out of time, but thank you very much for your time tonight. Good to get your answer to Israel's point of view on the show.